All right, guys, we are back. Just like I said, sometimes we run into technical difficulties on this phone, but it's all right. We're going to have this conversation. I'm excited about having this conversation, and I would love you guys to be a part. If you have even questions on your end, most definitely let us know. Let's try this again. Let's try this. All right. There we go.
There we go. Okay. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There you go. Had a
I'm doing
few
pretty
issues
good.
set up, but we gonna make it happen, man. We gonna make it
Yes,
happen.
sir. Hey, you by chance? I sometimes this thing gets feedback. Do you by have some headphones?
You know what? I do believe I do. Give me just one
Yeah, go
moment.
ahead. No, I'll open back up. So yeah, guys, if on our end, if you can have any feedback on our end, most definitely let me know that. Um, but I'm excited about what's about to happen. I'm excited about this conversation. Um, and I'm just looking forward to what was about to take place. So yeah, if you can hear me, guys, if you feel hear any feedback, please let us know in this conversation. I want to make sure that everything is squared away and done right. But like I was saying, guys, I think this conversation is highly important. Okay, so we're going to see if we can put his headphones in. Just give us a few seconds. How's everybody doing on here?
My friend, we are all set.
Let's try it out. Oh yeah, there we go. There we
There it
go.
is. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Oh,
me?
that's perfect. Yeah, I
There we
think
go.
it's this new thing now. So sometimes, Nick, I have when I have conversations on here, there's a lot of feedback on Facebook. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is or what technical issue it is, but when we put headphones in, it just kind of clears all that out. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just perfect. Can you hear me?
I see you, B. Okay. What's going on,
Come on
Dante?
now.
Dante, that was on here. He's one of our primal men too. Phenomenal man, doing the work necessary all the way in Alaska. Y'all probably know some of the same people, Nick. I know that you. I see you take a. You know. I saw you take a picture of Eric Thomas. Thompson, yeah, Thomas, and
Yeah.
y'all operate. Dante works a lot with those guys too. I had a
A
pleasure of
lot.
meeting, and I got to meet a lot of his guys, create some solid relationships with some of them. But before I get started, I will say welcome again, guys. This is another Primal Man of God series. I have my special guest on here, my guy Nick. I'm glad that he's on here with us. Um, you still there, Nick? Make sure that we got you cleared away. Um, I'm glad to have him on here. I'm glad to have him on here with us. Um, I want to tell you guys that I'm just excited about what's going on. What's going on, Anthony? How you doing? What's going on, Levi? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're gonna have this conversation. The man in his community. Let's try it again. All right, let's see. All right. If you're listening, guys, share, like, and invite, and say something. Say something nice. All right, there we go.
Phone. All right, we in there. We in here. We in here. We gonna make this thing happen, man.
Yes,
Despite the
sir.
odds, we gonna
Hey,
make it happen.
this man, I don't know what it is, but sometimes every time I'm about to have a conversation, something of this magnitude or this in depth stuff is always happening. Like, look, bro, the devil be trying to work for real, but we gonna have this conversation. Let me tell
He
you,
he ain't gonna win.
man, he ain't gonna win. We persevering and we moving forward.
Amen.
Nick, man, I want to say thank you again, bro, for just saying yes to being on this conversation with us, man. I thought you were one of the perfect fit for this conversations, and some other guys that we rock with that I'm gonna have some conversations with around this topic as
Amen.
well that I think is vitally important, especially as men, and more importantly as men of God. I think this conversation is important, and I think that we should have it. So I want to say thank you again, brother,
Amen.
and thank you for just being here in Asheville. I always tell people that I
Definitely.
believe that God is doing something special in Asheville specifically. I don't know about
Oh yeah.
everywhere else, but I know in Asheville that God is rallying up the troops from all over the world, and he's bringing them here for just a time as this. But I believe out of that it's going to catapult and hit the entire, entire United States, because
Definitely.
if this little small city can be advertised nationwide and worldwide, then it also can impact at that level too as well, because I do know
Amen.
that's happening. So Nick, I always crack open the conversation with this question before we even dive in. Man, just what is there something that God has been putting on your heart just in these past couple of weeks or months that just been ringing in your spirit, and just as an individual, that's something that you can share with us?
Yeah, man. Well, first off, man, I just want to say big ups to you, and what you're doing in the community of Asheville specifically.
Yeah.
Reaching out into a lot of different avenues. You know, a lot of people, when they find a skill set, they try to focus in on one thing and just kind of, hoard those skills and those gifts for one thing. But you're impacting a lot of different areas, man.
Wow.
Not only with children in schools, but within the church, within the community.
Mm.
Actually bridging the gap, man. Like
Yeah.
where there are gaps, you're being that bridge. So, man, I got to give that back to you and say thank you for this platform. Thank you for allowing me to be here to speak.
Yes.
But then, to actually dive into your question, man, really the last 2 months, 2.5 months, man, God's really been pressing like serving on me, man.
Mm.
Like, he kind of checking me a little bit first though, like, man, you've been a little greedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you've been around all of this opportunity and you're soaking in the opportunity, but you're not giving anything back to it. You know what
Wow.
I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you talk about being here in Asheville. I'm just thankful for the opportunities that God has given us to lead us to Asheville. But with that, man, like just the same way He gives you
Yeah.
something, you have to return that back. You know what I mean? Like when He gives you talents, you can't just give Him back what He gave you. You need to
Mm.
multiply it. And so I think Him putting me inside of this community of Asheville and giving me a business and an avenue to succeed. I haven't done my due diligence and like giving my thanks and being, grateful for that opportunity. So like He really kind of checked me,
Mm.
over the last couple months and was like, dude, you need to get back to remember who gave you these gifts, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And reach back out to the community that's around you and build them up now so that they can also succeed. So really, man, just trying to really lock back in on being a servant, man. You know what I mean? Just like that's it. Like,
Wow.
that's it.
Bro, that's the basis of everything, man. And I always want, just expounding upon what you were saying, like it is so important and vitally important for men, anyone that's listening, but just being a servant first before you're
Yeah.
anything else, like being a servant first, whether that's in any aspect or capacity, and wherever you are, wherever you're located in any capacity. So most definitely, I have to always continue to check myself and keep myself in that frame of mind on a continual basis. So that's what's up, bro, because that's
Yeah.
something that I highly believe in, and most definitely when you're like close to God and just like keeping your mind on Him, like He dropped those seeds in your heart. So that's what's up. So you also, man, I'm always gonna shout you out on what you do too, bro. Like you
Yeah.
operate, you own the Smoothie King out there on Hendersonville Road. And that's
Yes,
where
sir.
we met. We met there
Yeah.
some time ago.
Most
So,
definitely.
bro, shout out to the Smoothies because them Jones be here. But what makes but what makes it even
Hey.
better, bro, is that you put love behind it, and you make every
Amen.
customer feel feel special. So you talking about servanthood, like you most definitely embody that in that aspect, like in your business and what God has
Yeah.
called you into. So for you to show up every day and be a part of that, and also being a family man, shout out
Amen.
to you and your family too as well, and to your newborn.
Yeah.
I want to shout that
Amen.
out. I always want to give God praise and also uplift our men and what God is doing
Amen.
in our lives. So, man, my
Yes,
boy
sir.
Todd said best smoothies in Asheville. Hey, go get you a smoothie ASAP.
Shout out to brother Todd, man. So Todd, he's been there for a while. He moved down to Florida. So shout out to brother Todd for checking in with us, man. We love you, brother.
Well, appreciate it. And if you're listening, share, like, and invite this. So we're gonna dive right
Definitely.
into the conversation, bro. You cool with that?
Man, let's get
Let's
to it.
get
Let's make
to
it
it.
happen.
Look,
Let's
yeah.
Go.
So I have a couple of questions, man. I just want to ask you, bro.
Yeah.
Just like in this vein, like I said before, like I felt like that God heavily put this on my heart to have a conversation with other men and the men that think alike, just to talk about the man in his community. And I always phrase every conversation, the man and his whatever, the man in his community, the man his weapons, whatever they may be, because I always want to put the emphasis on what God has designed man to be and what he has designed man to look like. So that
Right.
word man, when you like really dig into it, it really talks about God's spirit, the word itself. So it is talking about on different aspects and levels. So I'm gonna jump right into the first question, bro, with you.
Okay. Okay.
So I know this. I'm just jumping right in. So this is this is a pretty
Let's
deep
get it.
one, but like just expound on it. So why do you believe it's important for a man to be involved in his community in any aspect? And I want you just to expound upon that. Why do you believe it's important, if anything at all? I know you believe in it
Yeah.
because we rock together in the community. So that's why I know
Yeah.
I could phrase that question that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's important if we're especially in talking in relationship with Christ, being in
Mm-hmm.
the community in terms of being servant leaders and being Christians. First off, he calls us to go forth and make disciples as men. That's our greatest commission right there.
Yeah.
So as men, I think being influencers. If you look over the history of time, the man has always been, and women don't come at me. I promise you,
Yeah,
I definitely
this is
value
a man
equality. Let me say that
conversation.
first.
Women just happen to
Let me
be
say,
in
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
We want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
bless them
let me
with their
say that
convo
first.
too.
Look, I don't want the shots after the video talking. He don't love women. He a woman. No. Listen, I think over the course of time, man, like we're called to be the leaders. That's what's been expected. We go, we hunt, we get food.
Mm,
From just the beginning of civilization to now.
mm,
And even when you look at in terms of Jesus and how he led, man, he chose 12 men.
mm,
You know what I mean? So like that's very important right there in and of itself. So I think we have a significant calling from the beginning to be leaders in whatever aspect, area and avenue of life already.
mm,
But I think specifically in terms of within your own community,
mm.
I think we have a diligent responsibility to make sure that we're keeping things fair as men. Because there's like I said, women sometimes are overlooked. So there's a lot of men jockeying for status.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And there's a lot of chest beating and
mm,
who's the best, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
it takes some sound, solid men with some good ideas and some initiative behind themselves to spark change within the community to
mm,
say, hey, we can all live in balance. We can love on each
mm,
other and it not have to be a competition. And we're not having to, necessarily say I'm better than you or this, that, and the third is,
mm,
we're all one community. So once you can find one or two of those people who are on that same wave of, hey, let's join some things together, then you guys go forth within your community and one person at a time, one step at a time, you just start linking a chain. So I think it's important for us to do that because if you don't, and you go through life separating yourselves from everybody else, you're not building a community at all. You're building a bunch of hermits, and
mm.
there's no way to live like that.
Wow, yeah, working in silos, man. I see that a lot. It just
Yeah.
specifically in my community here in Asheville. And just shout out to Asheville in general, man. They do a lot of
Yeah.
community work in general, and God is using some amazing people. But at the same time, in all of that too, people doing amazing work. Like if we could connect, I've been using this term a lot, connecting asset to asset. I think that will
Okay.
really put us in a different position that where every sector of the community can come together, and come together godly, man. I mean, all type of individuals coming together and really pushing forward the agenda of love and really pushing forward Christ, man. I think that it
Hmm.
can really do some due diligence. I remember my wife said this, and I'll never forget when she said this. We was at a meeting. It was a town hall meeting. And she said that you can't fight a spiritual battle necessarily with practical tools. And so she was just
Okay.
mentioning that the level of the things that we are dealing with here in Asheville and just in our community as a general, that sometimes you just yes, it's important to have framework and have conversations and put in programs in place and those things, but when like Christ is not at the center of those things or God is not operating in those things, then it's like it gives it that different edge. It gives it that different level of responsibility to really like open up, open up the solution. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
so yeah, bro, you hit it on the head about the hermits because that's a real thing. Like I don't know what it is. I think for me, I had to work through some things in myself when it came to just connecting with other brothers. But when I really got
Mm.
the revelation of what God really intended for our men, I was like, look, I need that dude, Nick. I need my guy over there. I need my dude there. I
Yeah.
need to lock on with my warriors because what happened when they went to go hunt back in 10,000 years ago? They were hunting
It
packs.
wasn't one.
Them brothers
Yeah,
was
it wasn't
hunting
just
as
one.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't just one. It was a unit.
it was a
Yeah.
unit. So man, that
Yeah,
just
and
kind of,
that's key.
yeah. No, go ahead.
Yeah. That's no. I was just gonna say that like that's key. I remember one of the most important things that I learned from Napoleon Hill. If you've never read any of his stuff or know who Napoleon
Oh
Hill
yeah, yeah,
Hill
yeah.
is, right. One of his keys to success is he talks about forming a mastermind alliance. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And that's finding people that are, like I said previously, on the same wave, on the same energy of focus, on
mm,
the same energy and level of, completion. Not necessarily like, okay, they just talking about it, but they're actually doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're actually at schools talking to kids and at, what I'm saying, at events, helping their families eat and find structure within their community. Like you're actually
mm.
doing that. Like you're actually hosting platforms for men to be able to link together and not only talk about their spirit, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
His brother, Brother Lake. Brother Lake, shout out to him. With my daddy taught me that,
Yeah.
he's actually reaching out to kids within the community. Brother Carmichael, he's starting a church, linking the community, and God is the focus. So having men like that, you put these people together and they're driving, that mastermind alliance is only going to accomplish whatever goal is set in front of those people.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? And I think that that's important, especially as men and, really as African American men, because when you have the stigma, one, that men can't come together
Mm,
and accomplish something, you're already defeating that. But then two, to be men of color and coming together and
mm.
accomplishing something is even more powerful. And then when you just back the spirit of the Lord behind it, you already know he's busting everything else wide open. Yeah, that's Jordan in his prime.
Yes,
Like
sir.
and on the smaller scale.
That's on the
So
smaller scale. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I think that just piggybacks off of why it's so important, man. Like it has to be seen that this thing can be done. Like men can come together and love each other and accomplish things in the name of Jesus Christ. Like it can't happen,
Yeah.
you
And I
know.
think that thing you mentioned, you said mastermind. I think that is what connects it all together. Like, because sometimes, like, stuff that we do in a community, we might be doing different things. But if there was some type of mastermind, and you should expound upon that a little bit when you said that, that made so much sense. Like a mastermind alliance, like coming together with the same thought, the same way of thinking, and getting behind something, really be able to dig into it and push forward. I think, bro, that was key. Um,
Amen.
what my guy Ty said, don't talk about it, execute it. And is
That's
that
it.
Linda? And she said, well spoken, Nickolas. Yes, for sure.
Amen.
I agree with that.
Amen.
So look, that's gonna just jump right into my next question, bro. So, a community it consisted of all types of things, like not just our church, but our schools and our business sector and hospitals. I mean, it hits the gamut. So my question is, I mean, this is a loaded question, but most definitely, I think this question just inspires that conversation.
Uh oh.
Just across the U.S., there's a lack of male presence in the church. I mean, the community, schools, and several other places. Some I just kind of told you. What do you believe is the cause of that, and how can we help in getting more men involved in those spaces? Or what does that look like?
Oh wow. That's a good question. Um. I well, to answer first the cause, I think one, the cause is like it's just where society is, for
Mm,
one aspect of it. Like we've grown into the most connected time period of
mm,
society, but we're the most disconnected, like face to face. Like,
right.
you know what I mean? Like you'll find people more inclined to be face down into their phone
Mm,
or, eyes glued to a TV screen. instead of like actually outside and investing time into people. Like, I remember I used to talk with my grandmother, and she used to say, man, I remember like when I would come home, like our neighbors would be outside, like working in their yards, or like, you know what I'm saying, working
Yeah.
on their cars, or, you know, just, and you got a chance to build community that way. So I think for one aspect of it, you have a lot of men who just are like numb to their
Mm.
community, just because like they're so invested into the stuff that doesn't matter.
Mm.
So like when you have that part, and then two, I think also it has to do with, to some degree, I think there's a lot of pressure on men to do like everything. Like, I mean, when you look at it, we're supposed to be the providers, we're supposed to be the tough man, we're supposed to
Wow.
be, you know what I'm saying, like the emotionally insensitive, nothing, you know what I'm saying,
Mm.
hurts me. You know, not supposed to, like, you know what I mean, we're the jock, we're the athlete, we're everything else, but we're not like really viewed as the species, or the gender rather, to like be out there throwing community parties, or, you know what I'm saying, holding youth events or like stuff like that. That's more so like it's been viewed as a female thing. Like,
Wow.
and I think that that's hard for men to like to try to embrace the fact of saying like, hey, nah, like I can throw a party too and it'd be cool, and I can bring people of all different kinds of backgrounds, and we can do this
Mm.
thing, and we can put our phones down and we can actually connect. So I think all across the board, you're saying across the US, I don't think that that's very cool. I think it's much more cool to be able to compete with another man,
Mm.
and prove how much better you are than him,
Yeah.
than to like I said. I think, and like I go back to that a lot, but I think that that's a big thing
Bro,
for the
yes.
male society now. It's ego, you know. It's not. It's being able to like humble yourself, and instead of comparing yourself to this next man and saying, "Oh well, you know, I got something that he don't got," just saying, "Yo, look at the stuff that he has that I don't."
Mm.
Like, let's link that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think you don't see a lot of that nowadays. It's a lot easier to compete. Um, and that's, you know, I think that boils it down, man. When you desensitize yourself and you want to go back to that hermit, stay on your iPhone, stay on your Facebook. Like,
Wow.
you got 100,000 friends, like you got 1,000 friends on Facebook, but you talk to like 3 of them on a daily
For
basis.
real.
Like, yeah, you know, you don't want to build a community, really. Like, you don't really want to do that.
Mm.
And then two, on terms of like being in churches and in schools, church, man, is being dwindled down by the second, dude.
That's it.
Like, I
Real
mean,
talk. Be real.
church has been, it blew my mind, man. Pastor Bruce from Biltmore Church was saying, like, I think in London now it's like 2% of professing Christians in the UK,
Wow.
like 2% out of the total population. You know what I mean? Where they used to have all these giant cathedrals and like these huge churches and these elegant places that used to be full. Now you like, they're barren. Like, you know what I mean? You used to have it where, like, I know at least for me growing up, for a certain time period, it was like religious, bro. Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays,
Yeah.
Thursdays, we in church. Like, you know what I mean? Just doing different stuff. My grandmother, she worked for a church for a long time. That's not the same thing of nowadays society. You watch church online. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like, you know, so especially for men, it's a lot easier to keep a household if you got a kids. Easier to keep them in the house, watch church online, and take them out into the community and take them to church. You know.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm sorry to go
No, that's good.
on a
I want
ramble,
you to
but
expound upon on these questions. This is most definitely understanding just your thoughts on certain things. I think that this conversation is much needed. Just like I agree with your guy Todd. He said we as men have been pushed out as men on this topic, and we all need to get back in there. And I totally agree with you. I think when technology hit society, like what's that, the 90s or whatever, like it hasn't even been
yeah,
out long yet. Like technology hasn't even
right.
been out that long. It's like 20 something years old. So when
Not even 20
yeah,
years.
not even
Like,
20 years. Yeah, so, yeah, even that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's real talk. So just to think about in the course of 20 years or less, that how our society has changed, and especially always the stigma on men, that there's a paradigm that's saying like, look, I can't work with you, so I need to tear you down, or we can't connect, or
right.
we can't see eye to eye on things. So there's this way of thinking that's just toxic across the board to our men, because yes, like I professionally work in the community, and it should not be where I get paid to work in the community, but as of right now, I do. But and in that
Right.
vein, I get to see all types of different aspects of the work in our schools, in our business sectors, and nonprofits, for profits, local government. I mean, it hits the gamut. All type of
Mm-hmm.
organizations. But when I look at what's actually taking place, I'm like, where the men at? And more importantly, where the black men at? Where aren't they located in
Right.
places? Because I know there was a time and space, at some point in the age, maybe it probably 100 years or less, that where men were really involved, and I wonder where
Yeah.
that fell off at. And so it really frustrates me, man. Just at times like you said, like sometimes the numbness is so real. Like, yo, that don't apply to my life. I gotta, cause it's easy when you got wife,
Right.
kids, and you got a family to think about. You got a place to provide for. You say, as long as it don't pertain to my kids or my wife, I don't really care what happened in the community. But sooner or later, that thing gonna show up at your front door. So that's why I think
Come
it's
on.
important to be involved in your community. So, bro, I really appreciate just your viewpoint on that. So it really
Yeah.
it really just is exciting. And I'm just, shout out to all the brothers, man, that are involved in their community. And that doesn't
Amen.
have to be you, like, for instance, working for some nonprofit or even having a business that's in proximity to the community, but that can also mean you just giving back of your time, like showing up, like you say, just being present, man, is a present.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, it really
Yeah.
is a present. Like, being a
Amen.
mentor to someone, being a father figure to someone that's not your child, like showing up and,
Amen.
and bringing and bearing gifts, whatever that looks like, whether that's your mind, your time, your talent, whatever that may be. So I'm with you on that, Nick. So I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Not
So
definitely.
yeah, I guess I'll just jump right into the next question. So, Nick, this question is why do you give back or want to get more involved in your community? And you can expound upon this.
Yeah. Well, one, like I said, I mean, just from the beginning, I was checked. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, me, you know what I mean? Just in my quiet times, God told me, like, hey, get back out there. There's a whole world that's around you, and you go to your business and you go home and you keep it all. You're not doing anything else. And that was me. Like, I mean, I've been in Nashville almost 3 years now. 3 years now since September, and I knew nothing about the place that I lived in besides two roads. You know what I mean? The road
Mm,
that my business is on and the road that I go home. And so that was a problem in and of itself. You can't make an impact really in an environment that you know nothing about.
wow.
Um, so I think that was first. God told me to. So being obedient, I don't want to get punished. You know what I'm saying? I want to listen to my father, because
Yeah.
usually when he tell me something, it's probably some good behind it.
Yeah.
And I can say the first thing to that immediately, once I actually was active and intentional, not like just, is being in a community is one thing, but if
Mm,
you're just out there to be out there,
mm,
that's not meaningful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you involve yourself in something and you invest in time, like, be intentional. Like, you
right.
know what I mean? Like, don't just do it just to be whimsical. Like, and so once I did that, it linked me to have opportunities like this, to be able to talk on this platform, and just for us to connect more regularly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think it was a couple months that we had gone with, just from not, being able to
Yeah.
see each other
Not
at Smoothie
vibing.
King, and then all of a sudden we start making some things happen, and now we linking back up on the regular,
Yes.
and just and all different capacities. So I think that part was important, because I think God knew the amount of impact that could be made once I started linking in the community with people that are already doing stuff. Like,
Mm,
I'm not doing anything at all yet. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just starting this journey. I was just been fortunate and blessed. God put me around the right people that are
mm.
doing things. And like I said, I'm just here to be a step. Like, you know what I mean? Brother JD said it very well. I'm here to be a wall. You know what I'm
Come
saying? That's
on,
one of his things. He said he stick with me. Like, I just want to be a wall.
man.
I want to help you build. So I think that part is really important. And then too, um it sounds cliche, but like, when seeing Nipsey Hussle die,
Bro.
and the amount, like the amount of impact that he had in his
Woo.
community, like, not just being a rapper, but like, when he died, more people missed him for his community activism than they did his music.
Come on,
Like, you
bro.
know what I
Talk
mean?
about
Like,
it.
you like so like when you leave this earth, people need to know you was here. Like, that's why God put us here. It wasn't just to be mediocre. Like, we're chosen. Like, you know
Mm,
what I mean? We're a chosen generation. You know what I mean? So we're supposed to leave an impact. And so I saw that, and I was like, man, like, if I was to die today, like, what have I really done for my community? Not just like who I am. Like, forget that,
mm.
because that come and go. But
Come
like,
on.
when I'm gone, like, is there going to be something that I left behind that's going to benefit my children? It's going to benefit your children. It's going to be, you know what I
Wow.
mean? Like, or did I just take up space?
Wow.
So that's really been on my brain heavy, and I've really been trying to just, you know, order some steps to make sure that, like, when I'm gone, my legacy in terms of being able to provide for the community is done. Like, you know,
Wow. 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 Bro, that joint just hit my heart. But it's crazy
yeah,
that you say that, because in that same vein, when I saw Nipsey Hussle, just when I saw him die, but I saw his legacy, what he left, that joint empowered me so much to get that much more involved, to
right,
impact that much. Because when I think about it from my lens, like as a child, like when I was in school or when I was coming up, like how I wish at points in times, like we had people there, but how how I wish it would have been for even me as a young man at that time to have somebody just present, especially somebody that looked like me. You know what I mean?
come on,
And to actually have somebody look like me and be present, and to see that at times it could have been my coach. You know what I mean? That coach at the rec, at the shop,
yeah,
at the rec center.
yep,
It could have been, you know what I'm saying, some of the guys in the that was rocking in their own businesses. It was those men too at times, like throughout my life. And I think about it, like even though I may not have necessarily had a full-on mentor until I got about 17, 18, and that's
right,
most definitely like man being present in his community. But just the people throughout my life up until who I am today, I had to contribute a lot of that coming from powerful conversations I had when I was a young teenager. You know what I mean? Like that
right,
guided my mind into thinking in a different aspect or even a different light. And even I could think about times how I felt when I was in school or, middle school, high school, just having somebody that I could look up to. You know what I mean? Because I ain't
yeah,
necessarily have that. You know what I mean? Because my dad was most definitely present. Most definitely shout out to Pops, but he wasn't always available and present. And so just to
right,
have, and I always talk about men because I believe it's something special in all people, but specifically our males, like our boys
yeah,
of color, man. Like these dudes are extraordinary, and these
come on,
cats at this age now are dealing with stuff that I ain't deal with 10 years, 12 years, 20 years, 15 years ago. You know what I mean? I wasn't dealing
right,
with some of these things that guys are dealing with at the age of 13, 14, 15, up to 18 and beyond. Like they're dealing with
come
some
on,
heavy stuff. So you hit it on the head. When I saw Nipsey Hussle die, bro, and just like I saw some of the stuff that he doing, it immediately made me take some actions, like right there, like right
facts,
then and right
not
there.
facts,
Bruh, like I really had to take some steps right then and right there. Like, yo, I'm not doing what I supposed to be doing. And I'm sure it's
yeah,
sparking some other men to like, yo, I need
yeah.
to get more involved. Go ahead.
But what's sad with that though, like, and I kind of want to hit two
Yeah,
things.
go
But
ahead.
what one thing what's sad with that is that like it took him dying like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like it took my man, like Nipsey been around. Like, you know
He
what I mean? Like he
has.
wasn't. So it's like it's sad that it took him dying like that to be able to be like, oh dang, I need to be like, and it's not even like I need to be the next Nipsey Hussle, but it's just like, dang, I need to be more proactive in being in my community because like
Mm,
that's important, like, you know. And it's like it's sad to think that it takes something or an event like that happening to like snap people, or having somebody like Michael Brown or Trayvon, or like one of those incidents you done seen on
yeah.
the news. It's sad that it take one of those to like wake us up, or like, you know what I'm saying, for us to get snapped
Mm,
back and be a community again.
mm,
And but then too, even to like the term of talking about the kids and how to reach them, like as men,
mm,
you're definitely right. I mean, even like teenagers now, and I just turned 25, so I'm not that old. But like you said, if over the last 10 years, so much stuff has changed
mm.
with what you have access to and internet to, and how soon you
Changed
can
the
get it.
game.
Like it's hard to even mentor like certain kids, or like try to have them like get a bridge of understanding, because you gotta find out how y'all connect, like, you know what I mean, like you don't have the same childhood, so like y'all don't even relate at first, so it's like
Wow.
whatever you're trying to tell them from your childhood, or like it's like, bruh, that's like you a dinosaur, and like
Mm,
you only 25, because of how fast childhood advance them,
Right.
you're completely, it's almost like really a 30-year gap than a 10-year gap,
Wow.
because it's like, man, I'm dealing with all of this now. You have no idea. And then you're like, you're right.
That's real.
So it's, yeah. So then you just like, I've had to start asking my questions like, all right, what is it that I need to learn? What is it that I need to start, paying more attention to in these like kids' lives, even in like, the 18 young adults, college kids,
Young
like
adults,
what are they
yeah.
yeah, because like they get overlooked too. We, after high school, you just get thrown into the real
Bro,
world, and you realize you wasn't taught nothing. Like for
bro,
real, I just went
that's
through all this school, and so
man.
and if you don't, yeah, you don't have some men that know what they're talking about, you're gonna get, a lot of people gonna get misled.
That's real talk. When you got men that don't know what they're talking about, a lot of people gonna get misled when people don't know what they're talking about, and that's real. That's real talk. Like you have some real jewels and just people, man, that's in the community that has been overlooked, but they got so much in them. And it's just like I said before, like when we as men or even as families that just say, look, these different killings are happening, these beliefs, these different things that happen nationwide, that's like, dang, like it make you want to do something, but it's like, how? Like, what do I do next? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
get involved. Like those people that are listening, I'll charge you to get involved. Like most definitely reach out. Just find out what's going on. You can even reach out to me. I'm always plugging people in to all sorts of stuff. So reach out to me
Mm-hmm.
most definitely for that. Even my guy, Nick, he's over there at my daddy taught me that. Shout out to them too as well. Lake
Amen.
gonna be on one of these
Amen.
conversations soon.
Amen.
So that's gonna jump into one of my next questions. I got one more left after that. So this question is a loaded question, like every question that we
Yeah.
had was loaded.
Just locked in, man.
Locked in. Darn. So, what would you like to see more of in Asheville if you could snap your fingers like you had Infinity Stones, like from Marvel, right? Marvel
Oh.
superheroes, right?
Oh.
Right,
Okay.
right. You could just do that. What would happen?
Yeah.
Think about that. You can think about that for. You can sit back and chill on that for a second.
Sheesh.
I'll ask it again.
How, like, how many stones I
You
got?
got all five of the stones, bro. You got
Oh
all of them.
man.
If you just
Okay.
and it's just I'm using that analogy to really set the importance of that because I know that we can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But it does when
Yeah.
it does spark vision. It does spark a better tomorrow. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things my leader said, my mentor, he said to me, he said, God shows you visions and pictures. We speak with words. So then I think about he shows you the end of a thing from the beginning. So we already know the answer or what the picture looks like in that end time. But we just
Right.
have to learn how to work backwards to the
Reverse
beginning to
engineer.
move reverse engineering in order to move forward.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So yeah, what is that for you? You can snap. You got the Infinity Stones, bro. You just
I
snap, crackle, pop. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I think, bro, like, to be honest, just from what I've seen of Asheville so far, and I think it's a little unfair because I'm not from Asheville, so to be like, man, I'm gonna change this about Asheville,
Yeah. Or even
but
just
just
stuff you've
like,
similarly to Asheville. Just maybe
but
share the
yeah,
same thing.
no, but no, just I mean, just speaking to Asheville, just in this community in general, because that's what we changing.
Mm,
So it's like I would want to see more so a clear defined unity, man,
mm,
in certain communities. Like I feel like in Asheville, population wise, it's a lot of scatteredness among certain communities.
mm,
And I think a very important thing, not segregation, but having a sense of a community
mm,
inside of the place that you live is very, very important. Having people of the same culture as you, same, resemblances, having the same certain ideologies,
right.
having similar backgrounds to be able to keep your culture living. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? Because like if you spread that out too thin, people lose sense of themselves and culture starts to die. So
Wow.
like I think staying inside of a cultural subsect to a certain extent is a great thing for a community, and I don't think Asheville has that set up structurally very well.
Mm,
Everybody's kind of scattered throughout the mix, and nobody really knows how to connect with one another because of how they are scattered. So I think that that's one thing, is just trying to figure out how to link communities of their own together, and then be able to, you know, bridge the connections there.
Right.
But then too, man, like a more active and dominant church presence in terms of, like, what I mean by that is Asheville has a lot of churches. Like, Asheville has a ton of churches, mega churches, small churches, in between churches, house churches,
Wow.
you know, they're everywhere. But if you get the overall feel of this city,
That's not
his
even
spirit ain't
present.
here.
It ain't even
Like
present.
his spirit, yeah, his spirit is not here. So like that says something to me. It's like if we have, you know, I can think 4 big churches off the top of my head within Asheville. Y'all call yourselves mega churches. What mega impact do you
You're
have?
right, Todd. Ton of them.
Yeah, like what mega impact do you have? You're a mega church, but you're not doing anything, you know? So I think those would just be the 2 biggest things, man, just off rip, is like God need to be lifted up right here, man. That light need to be turned on 10.
Turned on
Um,
10.
yeah, like, I mean, you know, that I think his people, you know, our people, we got to do better at really like getting out here and saying, nah, like he's not dead. He is alive in Asheville. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, and they're helping people find their communities to be able to grow that even more.
Yeah.
Um,
Bro, thank
yeah,
you for sharing that. That is most definitely a real issue, and most definitely is that, especially like you said, subsex, and like being in certain communities and making sure that we are joined up. Like you can lose self, like not amongst like just sharing those cultural norms. And that's why, I mean, when I be seeing y'all, bro, like we might be in Fletcher
yeah.
and Weaverville and
Come on.
West Side, East Side, North Side. We might be all over, but like it's when we get together, man. It's like, man, I need this. Like I need that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I need that.
yeah.
And so sometimes I don't know how much I need it until I see y'all. You know what I mean? Until we like really get
Amen.
together. But I most
Amen.
definitely, so that is most definitely something. Look, we just need a whole community, like just buy up the houses left and right.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm talking too much. Look, they gonna be on us now. You better watch out. They gonna be on us, man. You better watch out. Look,
Oh
we
man.
working on it. Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Baby
Baby
steps, man. You
steps.
gotta just
The
tiptoe in this
tiptoe. Hey,
thing.
look, that's what we need to do, y'all. Hey, who put their dollars in and buy up the community for real? But because everybody else do
Listen,
it. Just to be real honest, man, it's not a like everybody else do it. Like I mean, you got my Asian brothers. They be shacking up. Like they buy one house. They
hey,
all come together and they strategically step in here and they do it. It's like the culture, like certain cultures, like my Latinx family, like they getting together, like Lebanese, Turkish, I don't care what you are, like it's just when I get to America, it's like, why can't we put our dollars together? What's stopping us from doing that? You know what I mean? That's the
you
thing.
know,
That's the thing.
and really, it's not it really more so is colored America.
Yeah, that's even more. That's
Yeah,
our black brothers and sisters.
I'm gonna say something right here that just everybody laughs when I say it, man. But it floored me to find out how much money we made for Popeyes, dog, off them chicken sandwiches.
Man, how much they make?
Like,
Go ahead and talk about it.
dude, we generated almost $6.5 million for Popeyes just off of people reposting about them sandwiches, doing their little crazy videos. People running around in the streets like, look it up, man. We did almost 6.5 million, and it was mostly us doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So like, if we can do that off of shares and likes, and you know what I'm saying, off a chicken sandwich,
That's the
like,
mastermind right there they got behind. That chicken
like why we
sandwich.
can't? Yeah, like come on, man. We've been eating chicken our whole life, and y'all really hype up off the frozen chicken patty that got dropped into like. Come on, man. We know how to make chicken 20 different ways twice.
Come
Like,
on,
come
come
on.
on. That's real
It
talk.
wasn't that. It can't be that good. So like to see us be able to do that, but then like the simple things like putting money together to maybe buy a duplex and you rent a side out and have somebody like just simple bit
Simple
like we can't
things.
do it. It blows my mind.
Yeah. Look,
It blows my
that
mind.
narrative can be changed very easily. You get the right people together, it can happen. And you said collaborative mastermind. That's gonna be stuck in my head for a long time. I'm never gonna
Yeah.
forget that. So this is my last question, man. Um,
Okay.
the last question of tonight would be around just the primal man theme. What does it mean to you to be a primal man of God?
Nice. Wow. Well, like, so first, the first thing I think, I mean, I just think of being like primitive, first off, so just being simple. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like, I think we think of like primal times or like primitive people, they didn't have a whole lot. You know what I mean? So I think it's just getting back to the basics with God.
mm.
I think a lot of times, man, we try to like over complex it. You know what I mean? Like God requires so much from us, and like we gotta spin around 7 times and do 2 flips before, like, you know what I'm saying, He'll bless us, or And I think it's really just more so just taking the time and like having reverence for let me be in your presence, let me like have real conversation with you, just getting real back simple. Like, you know what I'm saying? Say all you gotta do is talk to me. I know the desires of your heart already,
Mm,
but you know what I mean? I think he just wants to, just like any parent. Your parents know what you need. You know what I mean? You got kids. Like,
yeah.
I know what my sons need before they even have to say nothing. But
Wow.
you know what I mean? Like, or I know if I see my son about to fall off the couch, you know what I mean? I'm gonna see how close to the edge he's gonna get before I go and catch him. You
Mm,
know what I mean? So it's the same way with God. It's like just get back to the basics. Don't get
wow.
so close to the couch where he gotta catch you. You know what I'm saying? Spend some time on the couch, like,
Come on.
and just sit back in, settle in, get in his presence, and find out where you and him are. Like, and that's been big for me, dude.
Mm,
Like over the last couple months is like finding out where me and God really are, not where like the community think me and God are, not where I'm trying, like, you know what I'm saying? Not what my
yeah.
family think me and God, but like actually like observing myself and like my thoughts, and how often I am actually being in his presence, and taking advantage of that. So I think when you say being a primal man of God, it's being simple with it and not trying to make it look too seasoned. You know what I mean?
Wow. Simplicity is key. Wow.
Yeah,
Doing something with less to do more.
yeah,
Yeah, that's powerful, man. Because when you think about primitive and is nature of the word, like it's going like way back beginning humans, but also like the tools that they use, were simple, like to
right,
to do things with, but they did a whole lot with it. I mean, to build cities
right.
with it eventually. You know what I mean? So
Come
I
on,
got you, bro. But look, Nick, man, I want to say first off, I want to thank you for being on this series with us, bro. I really, really
blessings.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Um, any last remarks? Anything you want to share with people that are listening in on this topic or will listen in later that you just want to share with just the ending remarks?
man. I just want to say thank you, brother Bruce.
Mm,
I like I said again, man. I appreciate you allowing me to come on and express thoughts and ideas and just be able to, share a vision,
mm,
and share, really what's on my heart. And anything, man, is just I'll leave a challenge out to people is just do something that you normally wouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's tomorrow, next month, whatever, whenever you see the video, like
mm,
next day, try to
mm.
challenge yourself to do something that you wouldn't do to somebody. Give somebody a handshake, a high five, give them a compliment, something just to
Yeah,
start bridging the gap in the community.
bridging the gap.
Um,
That's
yeah,
key. Wait, can you
yeah.
can you close us out in prayer, Nick? That's cool.
Amen. Amen. I will do.
Yes, sir.
Dear Heavenly and Gracious Father, we just come humbly before you. Thankful first and foremost for this platform, God. Thank you for the resources to be able to click in with people from all over, Lord, and just be able to share your vision, share some thoughts. Hopefully, this reach some hearts and help lift some ideas for some people, Lord.
Yeah.
I thank you for Brother Bruce. I thank you for his platform and his wisdom, his courage to be able to step out here and do this. Some people would think about doing things like this, but never actually execute.
Mm.
And he has taken the step and actually built something and allowed us to be able to grow from this guy. So I thank you for this opportunity. I pray that you continue to bless Brother Bruce and his household and his family, and along with everybody else that's just watching and tuning in, God. I pray that your spirit goes forth and that your light really shines deep into this community and communities all around, Lord. It's in your precious name we pray by the blood of Jesus. We thank you, God. Amen.
Amen. Hey, Nick, I appreciate you again, Doc. Thank you
Amen.
again. And most definitely be seeing you soon.
You know it, brother. I appreciate you, man. Y'all have a blessed night.
Hey, take it easy, Nick.
Yeah.
All right. So that was my guy, Nick, man. Most definitely a blessed brother. Make sure you share, like, and invite others to just continue to watch this. Oops. Well, we may be off of here for the moment, but like he said, the charge, man, do something you never did before. Do something, be plugged in the way you never been plugged in before. Most definitely, I'm glad that he came on. He blessed us all. So Thank you guys again. God bless. Primal men and women, stand up, stand out, and stand forever. Until next time, God bless.